I'm recording now for the benefit of the people who were not here. So now I'm going to go back into screen share, and then we'll go back. And so we've looked at the assignment. Everything is on the board that you need to know to finish this course. Now let's look at the assignments, at the announcements. And, this is the list of final deadlines. Here is a very handy comparison chart. Let's see. Let me pull that up. Now, if you're ever confused about what to do, you can look at this list, and on the far left it's MLA, and on the far right it's Chicago, and in the middle it's APA style. So you can see how they are different. The main ways that they are different is that in APA style, it puts the year after the author's name. And it doesn't do all of the author's first name. It always puts a period after the author's name. And then the title, we can tell this is italicized. So that means it's a book. But even though it's a book, notice that nothing is capitalized except the first words of a series. So it's not capitalized, and so this is a book. So, and this is, it says general book. And then if you have two authors, you're going to use the ampersand. You'll have Bell, JK, ampersand, Con, A, and then the year. So you can go line by line, and this tells you, any situation, unknown author, this tells you how MLA does it. On the right, it tells you how Chicago does it. And here in the middle, it tells you how APA does it. And then let me just go down, like work in an anthology. You would write it like this, and then write in, and then the editor's name and the name of the anthology. And so every situation, encyclopedia, dictionary, magazine, scholarly journal, this is one you'll be using the most often. So here's the author. You just abbreviate his first name. You put the year in parentheses. You put a period afterwards. The title, we can tell that this is an article because it's not italicized. This part is italicized because it's foreign name. Only the first words are capitalized. Then this is the journal that it's in, and this is how you do the citation. Now online, general format. So this general format, like if you had to do it from scratch without an example, author, period, year in parentheses, use ND, no date. So this is just a general form, but then it gives you examples, like page from a website. This is what the page from a website would look like. Article in an online journal. So it would look like this, authored. So they are very concerned on what year something was published. So that's why it goes first. So this is just a chart. Let me see, go all the way down to the bottom here. All right, in-text citations. So what I was just showing you is what it looks like in the reference list. But in-text citation is what it looks like when you quote it inside the paper. So author not named in a signal phrase. So a cumulative collaboration of evidence. So this is the signal phrase. We didn't put the author's name in the signal phrase. Up here is a signal phrase. Philosopher Stephen C. Pepper refers to this phenomenon as, and here's your quote, and here's your citation. And notice that in APA style, the year goes up here by the author's name, and then we use P period 49 for page 49. Period, as always, goes at the end of the sentence after the parentheses, just like it does in MLA. Okay, and this is one the author is not named. So then you would put, and notice they use commas. Pepper, comma, 1961, comma, page 49, parentheses, period at the end. So all of these are a real good guide, you know, to show you how to do certain things. You just have to remember that this in-text citations, everything below that is for what's cited in the text. And then everything up here at the top, let's see how they label it. It's probably called reference list. So yours would say references. But anyway, if you get confused about how to cite it in the text, this is a very handy, in fact, this is a very handy chart to print out and keep for the rest of your college career, because it has all of the citation styles there. So do you have any questions about this? Everything good? Okay, so let's now go and look at some actual examples. I've got some called up. This was in one of my recent classes. So notice this is exactly what the title page should look like. Notice it actually has the words running ahead on the first page only. It says running ahead. Let's see. Gracie, I'm going to mute you for a second because that wind is causing some static here. But all right. So running ahead, legalizing marijuana. So what is your paper going to be on, Gracie?
Childhood obesity.
Okay. So you're probably going to have something like childhood obesity there. And then you'll have the title. It's not capitalized this time. You'll have your name. This was the name of a group. And then you can put Cisco College, or you can put Albany High School, or you can put Albany High School, comma, Cisco College, however you want to do it. So we have the title up here. We have the title here. And then next we go to the page 2. And page 2 is always going to be the abstract. There's a couple of things wrong with this one. This should not be in paragraph form. It should be all the way to the left. So do not indent the first line. It should be flush left. But notice here is the running head. Notice the words running head are no longer there. It's only on the first page to educate us that this is a running head. And then the page numbers. And then the abstract, you just more or less summarize the paper. You want to put your controlling idea and probably mention your 3 sections and what your conclusion was. This page is missing a line at the bottom that should say keywords. While this line up at the top should not be indented, the keywords should be indented. So on the keywords, you would want to type in any words that someone might type in trying to find your article. For example, childhood obesity would be a key term. It should say key term. And any other key words you would just type in because that's how people would search for it in a library. And then if they type in childhood obesity, then your article would pop up. So that's the abstract page. Don't forget to do the abstract page. The third page, it's page 3. We have our running ahead. And again, we have our longer head title. So we have the title on every page, in a running head, and on the title page, we not only have the running head, but we have the title. And then on page 3, we have the running head and we have the title again. That's just the style. Now, here's your introduction. Here was the thesis statement. Most introductions are longer than this, but this was fine. Then this section, this paper was divided into 3 sections: health problems, government's solution, and marijuana legal complications. So, oh, and they had another one, nicotine versus marijuana. They had 4. You don't have to have 4, you only have to have 3. But then you would also put your conclusion. So these are all first level subheads, and that's all you need for this paper. If you were writing a longer paper, and like if you say marijuana legal complications, and if you had 3 different kinds of complications, then you would go to a secondary level, and those subheads would go on the left. And I have an example later that I can show you. But you can see that this is really pretty simple, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of different, you know, because page 3, the abstract, and page 3 got the headline again. You know, some people say, well, why do you need a title page when you've got the title right here? But anyway, that's just the style that's used by people in those courses and people in those societies. You know, people write papers and go and present them at conferences. And these conferences have their style. And this is, you know, American Psychology Association style. So when they have their conferences, obviously they are using APA. Any questions about this example? Okay, let's go to another example. Let's see, let me just close this. Now, how do I get out of this? Sorry. Let me see. Anybody have a suggestion? Huh. All right, I'm going to close this. If I go away, sorry. I hope I don't, but okay, I didn't. All right, great. And then let me close this one. Okay, now let me go to another one. This one was done by the predecessors of you at Albany High School. Very good group. Let's see what they did last year. They did a really, really great job. So this is outstanding example. And Albany has always led the way for all of my Cisco College students in doing outstanding work. And this is just an example. Again, you see, we have the running head and we have gene modification. And then we have the full title, Gene Modification, a Possible Solution to Genetic Diseases. Addison, Tyler, Lena, J. Lee, excellent group. They identified with Albany High School, so that's fine. Let me take this off. Here's their abstract page. Notice that the abstract page, it just has the running head and the page number. It doesn't repeat the title again. And then they did it right. This goes flush left. And then the key words, you know, genetic modification, genome editing, gene therapy, stem cells. These are things people, you know, might look for. And this was a very good summary. And by the way, I've put copies of all these in the files, so you can call them up later and look at them yourselves. Then here we are on page 3 again, and we have the running title in all caps. By the way, if any of you have any trouble setting up your running heads, or where the running head on page 2 and 3 looks different from the one on the first page, you have to be sure and check a little button that said, let me see if I can do it here. first page header. I think there'll be a little button that says front page different. But if any of you have any trouble at all with that, be sure and invite me into your Google Doc, and I will help you set up your headings properly. If you have problems setting it up yourself, just invite me into your paper, and then I'll help you with that. So here, let's see how many sections they have. 1, 2, and in this one, they had a secondary subhead level. So, so here's the second secondary, and then the third secondary, and then a fourth secondary, and now this is the conclusion. So they had, just a second. 1, 2, they only had 2 sections. They really should have had 3 sections. But I guess because their second section had a lot of different ones, and they placed it inside that one. I guess that was their thinking. And then their conclusion. This page should have been deleted. But anyway, let's see what their thesis statement was. Because many lives would be saved and some diseases eradicated, genetic modification of embryos should be allowed. That's a very strong thesis statement, and it's highly arguable because there's a great many people who would argue against fooling with Mother Nature that way. So it was an excellent thesis because it was highly arguable. And it doesn't matter if I agree with the statement or not. The fact that it's arguable makes it, excellent. All right, any questions about this example? Are you getting an idea of what your paper should look like? Okay, and then I just had one more example to show you. This was from a group at Cisco College last time. All right, there are a few minor little things wrong with this paper, but basically it was good. One is that this running head is way too high. It should drop down about 1 inch. And this was also too high. And they got their page numbers on there twice because they had some problems with the formatting. This title should not be there. It should have had a better title. But the rest of it is pretty good. Here's your running headline. Here's the abstract. This should be flush left. It should not be indented. But they did do the key words right. Domestic violence, intervention, victims, recovery, verbal abuse, emotional effects. Now on page 3, it's done perfectly. The running head, the title again. Here's your interveners in domestic violence have found effective ways to help victims. So now they divided this into, I think, 3 sections: verbal abuse, emotional effects, escaping physical abuse, ways to help victims, and a conclusion. So overall, and then references. And I don't think we looked at references on the previous ones. I didn't go that far. But in MLA, we call it works cited. In Chicago, we call it bibliography. In APA, it's called references. And I hope that's the way that that's done. I can't remember now if it's supposed to be double spaced or not. All right, so let's go check at the APA website. Let me just type this in, APA style, and I'm typing online writing lab. And just to be sure, I'll type in Purdue. By the way, I used to teach at Purdue. I taught a night course. You know, Indiana University and Purdue University, they share a university in Indianapolis. So it's called Indiana University, Purdue University at Indianapolis. It's IUPUI. We just call it ooey pooey. All right. APA style writing introduction. Let's go there. Our purpose right now is to find out how the reference page should look. And okay, we got our title page. That's about the title page. Let me see if I can find the sample paper. Anybody see it? Let's see, let's go back one. If you see where it says sample paper, be sure and let me know. Oh, okay. This right here, I can't see this because you all are covering it. Let's see. Okay, let's look at this and see if there's. Reference list, books. Okay, I'm gonna do it like this then. APA sample paper OWL. APA sample paper. All right, APA sample paper. Let's look at the sample student paper. All right. We're coming here to look at the reference list to find out if it's single space or double space. Okay, just as I suspected, it should be double spaced. So the example I just showed you was not correct. They were doing Chicago style, but you can see that it is double space, hanging indent, alphabetical order. And you know, notice that it has the links there so that I can click the link and go directly to the article that's being quoted. So, all right, and when you have a choice, use the DOI because DOI is more permanent. So that's what it should look like, except I prefer that you use Times New Roman rather than this font. All right, do you have any questions about that?
Man.
Okay, well, really, let's see. We looked at the comparison short. We went over the 3 examples. We went over the assignments and we went over the announcements. So that's really all that I had on the agenda today. Let me check. let's see, did everybody tell me what you think you're going to write about? Gracie told me she's going to write about childhood obesity. And Taylor and Tristan, you may not know exactly what you're going to write about yet, but can you try to just throw something out that might be something that you might write about?
About what?
I have no clue what to write about.
About what's facing the nation right now. Political science is part of that social science you're talking about. What's going on with COVID and all the government baloney. Good subject, you ask me.
I don't know anything about it.
Well, you got to research.
What do you know about Tristan?
I'm not for sure.
Don't you know about hogs?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, couldn't you write a paper about that? Do some research on hogs, domestic swine, or
I could. Yeah.
I mean, that's a
Hey,
possibility.
Kay's good.
Or
You can hear you, Dad.
or aren't pigs often used in medical research?
In some cases, yeah.
The
That's
use
what they
of
use in
pig-
biology.
yeah, the use of hogs in medical research, or something like that. Or is there? What are you studying to be? What field are you going into?
I'm looking in to go somewhere into ag business.
Ag business? Well, that's a topic right there.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, try to find a topic that you are interested in, you know, and that the research would be beneficial to you in the future. So agriculture business, you know, a thesis. I mean, right now we know how valuable agriculture is to our country. And there's things going on right now about farmers having to plow under vegetables because they can't get them to market and stuff like that. There's all kinds of things that would be perfectly legitimate for you to write about. So give some thought. When you decide what you're going to write about, send me a message, you know, and just run it through me so I can be sure you're on a good track. So Taylor, any thoughts?
I don't really know yet, but I might do like one of your examples for the food preservatives because I feel like there's a lot of information there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't really know.
Like dangerous food preservatives or safe ones, or yeah, something like that. All right, so be sure and let me so Gracie, you're fine, you don't have to run yours through me. Taylor and Tristan, when you decide on your topic, you probably just need to check with me so I can make sure you have a good thesis statement. Because here's the thing, if you don't have a thesis statement, which is an arguable opinion, then it is very hard to write your paper, you know. But once you have an opinion, then it's really, writing your paper is a lot more fun, and it's also easier to do because you enjoy it more. So you need to have some firm opinion about something. And you can tell if it's a good opinion if you can imagine that someone could argue against you and say, no, it's not that way at all. But but you feel strongly about, you know, what you think. So find something that's arguable. It needs to be something, you know, psychology, nursing, education, social science, anthropology, agriculture, you know, all of that is fine. All right, this will be the last time that I see you in a Zoom meeting. I really appreciate all of you coming to this course, and I've had a lot of fun with you. I don't know if you have heard yet, but more than likely, this will be my final time to teach at Albany because they have reassigned me to Eastland. I have 3 dual credit courses in Eastland scheduled so far for next semester, plus 4 other courses at the Cisco College campus. So it looks like my era of driving to Albany twice a week for the last 7 years straight is coming to an end. Albany's always going to have a special place in my heart because the students at Albany have always just been really, really special. And you all are no exception. And by the way, I always tell this to all my students. Once you're my student, you are always my student. And that means you can come to me at any time in the future, even when you've gone on to your next college. And if you want me to check a paper for you, believe me, plenty of Albany students have sent me their papers from A&M or from other universities that they're at and say, could you please check my paper? You know, regularly, I tell my students, you know, give me 24-hour turnaround to get your paper back to you. But people who are not my current students, but my former students, I ask them to give me 48 hours turnaround because I have to take care of my current students first. But anyway, you're always welcome, you know, to contact me. I'm always happy to check papers because that's actually one thing that I love to do. And I do a lot of editing for manuscripts and master's thesis and doctoral dissertations. And even my high school teacher has written a history book of Sweetwater, and he sent it to me to edit for him. So anyway, and I do it free of charge just because I love to do that. So always feel free to call on me. And if there's any way that I can help you, just let me know. And especially in this next week, in these next 10 days that you have left to write your paper, do not hesitate to contact me. Anytime, day or night, send your email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So that's all I've got from here. I wish all of you the best of luck and bye-bye. Bye, signing off.